do not bring your politics out of respect to Reverend Jesse Jackson and the life that he lived to these homegoing services.
Right.
Come respectful and come to say thank you. But these homegoing services are welcome to all, Democrat, Republican, liberal, and conservative, right wing, left wing, because his life is broad enough to cover the full spectrum of what it means to be an American. We only ask people to come and be respectful in the context of the extraordinary life that he lived.
Well, it seems as though the Democratic ship is leaking oil. You know, for a long time, we've been calling out these Democrats, calling out the way that they do business, separating from their policies. And there's been an ongoing battle between the grassroots foundational Black Americans and the elder foundational Black Americans that's connected to that Democratic plantation. And we're saying that they don't respect nothing, they don't care nothing about nobody, and they use the Black community for their own political agenda. Well, Jesse Jackson has since went to be with became an ancestor, right? And at his going home service in his memorial at the Rainbow Coalition Center on Saturday, I think they had the ongoing service, and during that service, the son, Jesse Jackson Jr., he asked them to not get up there and start spewing their political agenda and celebrating the life of his father. Well, you know that they wasn't going to respect anything. You know that they wasn't going to listen to nothing. They was going to get up there and do what they wanted to do, right? I mean, it gets real crazy, right? So, he really got at those presidents because they was up there, they got up there and they start talking about Trump. They start talking about the Republicans and what they're doing, and they turn into a whole political fiasco.
So let me just say, I predicted a lot about what's happening right now. I'm not into saying I told you so, but we did see it coming. But what I did not predict is that we would not have Jesse Jackson with us right now to help us get through this.
It may be tempting for some to compromise with power and grab what you can, or even for good people to maybe just put your head down and wait for the storm to pass. But this man, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson, inspires us to take a harder path. His voice calls on each of us to be heralds of change, to be messengers of hope, to step forward and say, send me. Wherever we have a chance to make an impact, whether it's in our school, or our workplaces, or our neighborhoods, or our cities. Not for fame, not for glory, or because success is guaranteed, but because it gives our life purpose.
Jesse kept hope alive for us in his lifetime. And we've got to continue to do it in our lifetime for our children, because there's nothing beyond our capacity when we work together. Nothing. So stand up and finish his job.
We did not always agree, but I'll tell you one thing. He made me a better president when I got in office. Because he was always pushing on things. And he knew that change came from the outside in and sometimes from the inside out.
Every single person in here has a Jesse Jackson story. The time he shook your hand, the time he prayed for you, the time he held you up, the time he prayed the funeral for somebody that you know, the time he was at the hospital for you, the time, Roland, when you lost your job and he prayed you to a new course of existence. Everybody has, Sister Waters, their own Jesse Jackson story.
So, he asked them to come up there, and just give reverence to his father, but he knew that a lot of these people didn't like his father. He knew that. He knew that these people didn't rock with his father in his political theater. And they was using that stage because the Democrats are not in office right now, and they're under fire from a lot of people, man. A lot of people are not rocking with the Democrats, so they had a stage, and they was going to get up there and talk. But then Al Sharpton gets up there.
And I will never forget, he said, Al, you see what that artifact is? I said, what's that? He said, they call it the door of no return. When you go through that door, you either made it to America to slavery, or you died in the Atlantic. The door of no return. But I talked to him about 3 years ago, and I reminded him, I said, remember when you brought me to the door of no return? He said, yeah. I said, well, we did return. We returned the President of the United States, Barack Obama. We returned the Vice President, Kamala Harris. We returned with businessmen. They thought they sent us as slaves. We came back as global liberators. The problem is that too many of us did not join the movements that sponsored us. And there was a breakout in 2024 called Negro Amnesia, where you forgot where you came from and forgot how you got where you got. Therefore, they're trying to take back everything you have. I asked Michael Eric Dyson, our prominent scholar, where in history is this? He said, we always go one step forward and two backward. Well, here we are now. The problem is not Trump. The problem is us. We are allowing ourselves to be lowered and our children to feel inferior because you don't have an I am somebody person. You got our artists calling our women bees. Our others calling us niggas. What happened to us?
So now they up there. Again, making it about political agendas. And that's something that the son did not want, right? So now everybody all over social media is talking about this. Everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody's doing the videos because remember, the Democrats right now are down bad. Tariq Nasheed, he took to social media and he said this.
The DNC, they look at Foundation of Black American Activists purely as political mules. You understand? See, the DNC, they can't separate Foundation of Black American trauma and struggle from their own political campaigning. So the Democrat establishment, they're getting a civil rights figure. They're not going to look at him as just a man, a father, a private citizen. No, he is a mule for the party to them. They couldn't just let the elder transition in peace and respect his son's wishes. Oh, they had to clock him in one last time. They had to get one last drain, some political mileage out of Jesse one last time. Oh, don't put him in the ground yet. We can squeeze a little more juice, some civil rights juice up out of him, because he's like one of the last prominent people who was around in the civil rights movement. He's one of the last ones to go. Yeah. So yeah, let's squeeze something out of it so that we can use it for the next election. Yeah. And what they need to do, they got to siphon off credibility to cover their own weakness. See, the Democrats right now, they're in a political wilderness right now. They lost the White House. They're bleeding grassroots support. The grassroots ain't really rocking with them like that. They have zero moral authority left because they out here trying to give gender reassignments to toddlers and damn elementary school kids. So the moral authority is just out the window with them right now. People are looking at the DNC just real funny. They ain't talking about no tangibles for us. They're trying to flood the country with hostile illegals. They're doing the most. So Obama, Biden, Clinton, Kamala, they get up there, go up to a black funeral and act like political damn vampires. They want to siphon off Jesse Jackson's grassroots cred and stand under the umbrella of a revered freedom fighter. That's a PR stunt. You understand? And basically what they wanted to do, they wanted to exploit black grief for a damn free DNC infomercial. You know, I understand what Jesse Jr. is upset about that. Don't turn the family's funeral into a damn infomercial for the DNC. That was a cynical media play. So you got a captive audience, Foundation of Black Americans mourning a legend, the cameras rolling, international television coverage. So the DNC saw a sacred homegoing, and they said, oh, no, no, no. This is free primetime infomercial time right here. You know? See, to the political elite, man, the black grief, that's just another marketing demographic to exploit. So they saw a rare national audience they really couldn't afford to waste. So it was political opportunism. It overrode basic human decency.
So this right here just shows you just how powerful foundational Black American lineage is, and the separation movement, us separating, delineating from these other groups, right? Our delineation is powerful, and the Democrats know it. The Democrats is feeling the fire because you have a whole room of young people that's not going along with this stuff no more. As Tariq said, like their policies is set up to just wipe the whole black community out, right? You're bringing in these immigrants, you're supporting that other Skittles community, you're supporting gender stuff. I mean, it's just a whole cesspool to the point where you guys are having struggles and fights from within. Y'all don't know whether y'all coming or going. So now that y'all so down bad, any stage you get, man, you just get a stage and y'all upstage the man's funeral to make it about you guys, right? To the point where now Jesse Jackson Jr., he had to come out and keep it real and say this.
Yesterday, I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson. He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people. And it speaks volumes about who the Reverend Jesse Jackson was.
And see, that's Junior exposing these people, man, these charlatans, and they don't care nothing about the black community. Now, Jesse Jackson Jr. is also upset because they allow him to go to prison. Y'all remember that him, his wife, you know, it was some stuff with some funds, misappropriated funds. I remember when they took him to prison, and that I think it was when Obama was the president, right? And now you getting up there and you speaking like y'all was real friendly with his dad and all that kind. No, man, y'all wasn't rocking with his father, man. Y'all used the civil rights movement, black leadership, right? You know, as tools to push your agenda forward. They never cared nothing about the black community. Whatever matriculated back to the black community, okay, they said we got civil rights. You had affirmative action. That didn't benefit the black community, help the community grow. DEI, now everybody crying over DEI. No, you had disparate impact put into the civil rights agreement, right? Into the Civil Rights Act. Disparate impact really didn't work because we still discriminated on jobs. We're still not being able to get the jobs that we deserve. We're still going through discrimination, right? People can still say whatever they want to say about us, right? We're still not a protected group. So that stuff didn't work. It was all for lights, camera, action, and for show. So now at his father's wake, he's saying, yo, I ain't with all that fake stuff. Don't bring that fake stuff over here, man. Y'all didn't rock with my father like that. Y'all was not friends with my dad like that. No, you wasn't. Now, there's a lot of people in the black community that got certain issues with Jesse Jackson and the way that he did things, right? Fair enough, right? But the son knows that these people didn't rock with his father. But they out there trying to act like they was his friends. But Tariq Nasheed wasn't finished. He doubled down by saying this.
And, you know, they want to hijack Jesse Jackson's legacy so they can cape for non-FBA agendas. They do all the classic bait and switch. They hijack the funeral to weaponize Jackson's whole Rainbow Coalition concept, and they'll water down his FBA lineage. You know, they want to take the blood, sweat, and tears of a foundational Black American civil rights icon, and they'll use that to cape for immigrant groups and all these other people under some generic multiracial coalition. Yeah. So that was a hostile takeover of a foundational Black American legacy, ladies and gentlemen. These political elites, they needed Jesse Jackson's symbolic capital way more than he needed theirs. They have no organic connection to the foundational grassroots at all. So speaking at his memorial in a partisan register like that was a hostile takeover of his legacy. That was very disrespectful. And they wanted to rewrite the historic record in real time so it looks like the DNC owns the civil rights movement. They were trying to tie their agenda in with Jesse to burn that and etch that into the subconscious minds of viewers. It ain't the same. They want to make it seem like Jesse's legacy is viewed strictly through a Democrat Party lens rather than an independent, uncompromising, foundational Black American political lens. That's why Jesse Jr. was like, this is open for everybody. Republican, Democrat, this is for everybody. We ain't trying to have no damn infomercial for the DNC. Yeah? This was no infomercial for the DNC. But also with Jesse Jr., I understand why he had a problem with it, why he really, really had a problem. I can understand why Jesse Jr. really, really had an issue with the Democrats pulling that little stunt. I want y'all to understand something with Jesse Jr. Y'all remember Jesse Jr. went to jail. Do y'all remember that? How many? Come on, let's put your memory caps on. Jesse Jackson Jr. around 2013? They sent him to prison. It was like he misappropriating some campaign funds or something like that. It was like $700K that, you know, they tried to do the I'm white not say so. He was spending it on personal things, which all them politicians, you know, you might spend it on something personal. A lot of them do that. But yeah, he went to prison under Obama. He went to prison under Obama. Understand, Jesse Jackson, let's be clear, Jesse Jackson Jr., he was one of the people that was right there, one of the architects of Barack Obama's political rise in Chicago. You understand? Without Jesse Jackson's cred and the blessing and the groundwork, Obama's trajectory to the Senate and to the White House, it would have looked different. You understand? So Jesse Jr. was there kind of helping Obama get his footing in the political game like that. Yeah, come on, Chicago, know what I'm talking about? Oh, yeah. And then when Jesse Jackson, you know, he stumbled a little bit, Obama's DOJ, they didn't just let him fall. They sat there and let him get in prison, and his wife got it. I think his wife got a year in jail, too.
So I always tell our people, man, make sure you guys stay in the middle, man. You know, you got the radical left, radical right, radical left. Man, you just listen, man. Stay out the way. Stay all the way out the way. Mind your business. Whatever they got going on, we building what we got to do over here. Asians, they build whole communities, right? They don't get into like a lot of that political stuff. They deal with things behind the scenes. What we need to do is just start building our stuff behind the scenes. For far too long, we've been out in the front. right? Out in the front, leading the charge for everybody while everybody else benefiting from the things that the blood, sweat, and tears and the work that we put in. Man, we getting out of the way. We getting out of everybody's way. Y'all got to figure that out on your own, right? So listen, man, we moving cerebrally. We doing things differently. We moving politically, and we're doing things that's going to benefit us and only us, because we did everything for everybody else. And I know Jesse Jackson Jr. and his family and them young people, they on that, man. We ain't worrying about all that, man. You worried about everybody else and want to be all inclusive. Why when it come to us, everybody shuts us out. We're not moving like that no more. So y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Do you think Jesse Jackson Jr. was wrong in saying the things that he said? If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. And remember, I love you all. Till the next time. Peace.